Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Paris Henriksen Show. Today, our guest is back for round 2. She is obviously awesome, business partner, best friend, all of the above. Tiara, welcome back.
Hey, it's great to be back. Thank you.
Of course. So obviously everybody probably knows who you are by now.
Yes.
But for those who didn't catch your first episode, give them a little snapshot of who you are.
Yes, I'd love to. My name is Tiara Sharde. I am an oracle, priestess, ordained minister, as well as CEO and founder of the Embodying the Goddess Temple and Mystery School. And I just have a lot of cool things going on. So I'm excited to be here.
That you do. And I'm excited to kind of dive in because it's been, I think, 1.5 years since we recorded the last one. It's been definitely a minute. And a lot has changed. So tell us what has changed, because you did mention Embodying the Goddess Temple.
Yeah.
That obviously wasn't a thing last time.
No.
So what's going on there?
So I've been called to ministry my whole life. Like, I grew up in church, but there was just something about the path that I felt was missing, and something that I needed to bring forward as it pertains to my work. So it was like, okay, create a ministry that has to do with feminine, divine feminine, the goddess. And so the Embodying the Goddess Temple was actually born. And I'm super excited about it. It is a legit church. I've gotten yays and I've gotten nays about that, but I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to, take the world by storm.
And what do you hope to achieve with it? And what's the end goal?
The end goal is really to provide that sacred, safe space for women and the people who love them, to highlight divine feminine bosses who are creating change into this world, and definitely be international with it, and international with the school as well. Okay.
Nice. So, I mean, you've obviously answered these questions before, but we're gonna do a few of them and see what else has changed.
Yeah.
What are you grateful for right now in your life?
Ooh, that's a great one. I am grateful for surrender. I think most of my life I've been fighting the path, so to speak, because it's scary, it's new. People kind of hate you when you wave your own flag and you go against the grain. And I was fighting it so much, and I just had to surrender, like, okay, this is who I am. This is why I'm here. This is the message. So I'm grateful for my ability to just lay the bags down and stand 10 toes down, as they say, in my truth, and just move forward. Yeah.
Interesting. I love that. And you said something about, people don't necessarily always step into their path, or they're scared or whatnot, a lot of different reasons. What advice would you give those people that are not surrendering per se?
Definitely find your tribe. Yeah, because I feel like for so long I've been doing it on my own. I've just been, the captain of my own ship, but the captain needs a crew. You know what I mean? They need someone to look out and, see what's on the horizon, see where to steer, find your tribe, because they make it easier for you and they celebrate you just as you are. Yeah. And I feel like I was trying to make other relationships fit and trying to network in circles I didn't really fit in. And now it's just, when you stand in your authentic truth, your true tribe finds you. And I feel like that has helped me so much in this season.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely agree. Now, I know the answer to this question, but what does your morning routine look like? And what are some of your day-to-day activities? I say that because we've pretty much been joined at the hip for about 8 months now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My AM routine is a bit different than it used to be. In some ways, I used to just get up, say prayers. I do a bunch of like rituals where, I pray, I give thanks, I cleanse, I see what's going on in the world. I tap in spiritually. And now it's more relaxed, I think. I think that kind of goes along with the surrendering, because now I don't feel like I have to do those things. I'm like, no, all is well. I'm going to get up, I'm going to stretch, I'm going to hop out of bed at 11:15 and that's great for me.
It's true, folks. It's very true.
Yeah. And then get my day started. So I think it's a lot less pressure in my AM routine for sure.
So I guess let's circle back on that for a second, because I think so many people are like stuck in the mindset of they have to get up at a certain time. They have to do a 7-step morning routine. What was it like for you when you stopped doing all that? Like, what was the feeling? What was the energy that you were then able to take out into the day?
Yeah. There's a freedom that comes with it. That no matter what, if I don't read a self-help book, a whole chapter by 9 a.m., I'm still going to be a badass throughout my day. Like, I'm still going to get the job done. I'm still going to be able to show up in all of my relationships. It's more freeing. Yeah, it just is. And I could go from temple stuff to goddess program stuff to film stuff to hanging out with our friends stuff. And it's all seamless. It's not like, okay, I got to prepare for this. And okay, what time is this? It's a lot more freeing. Yeah.
And that's not to say that you can't have a 7-step morning routine.
You totally can.
However, you have to make sure it works for you and you're not going and taking a Grant Cardone 7-step morning routine and thinking that you're going to be Grant Cardone, because it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. And I'll say it works for me now, but the Embodying the Goddess program starts enrolling again April 4th. Okay. And so I'm sure leading up to that, I will incorporate the 7-step AM routine just so I'm, showing up purposefully for my clients and my mentees. But right now it's all coasting and surrendering. It's just flowing.
That's great. That's great. What are some tips and self-love practices that you would recommend to either people that are already well on their path or people that are just starting out? And that might be a 2-part answer, but.
That's funny because the first thing that popped in my mind was take your naps. Can people take naps? Like, is that?
I can't, but.
My self-love routine includes taking naps. Like, I need it. And my human design is a projector, so we seem to pull in so much energy all day, every day. We can't turn it off. So sometimes when I'm running for days on end, I'm like, why am I frazzled? What's going on? It's because I didn't take a nap. And I find, as ambitious women, we have a lot of going on. I think between the two of us, we have like 10 businesses. Yeah. Like take a nap. It's okay. You can do that. You can lay down, turn off your phone and get your hour nap in and then hop back up refreshed. And so that's my self-love routine. Yeah.
I like it. It sounds really simple, but try it, guys, because it doesn't always work.
Yeah.
It works, but doesn't work.
Yeah.
Especially if you're someone like me. It's like, I think we just have a hard time.
You don't like taking naps. I don't think you require them.
So for me, well, I kind of do. I don't like taking naps during the day. And I also hate watching TV during the day because I feel like there's so many more important things that I could be doing. Even if it's a day off and I'm sleeping and I'm resting, I still won't watch TV. I also think I got that from my father because he's very much the same way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's just interesting quirks. He literally just called me while we're on the air. That was such wonderfully weird timing. Thanks, universe. Okay. What do you believe the key ingredients are to living a meaningful life?
Ooh. Knowing yourself, like taking the time to know yourself. I think removing everyone else's narrative because people have a lot to say.
Yeah.
They have a lot to say. They talk a lot. So remove everything you ever heard about yourself and how do you feel about yourself?
Ooh.
I think that's number one. That had to work for me because, I walk an interesting path. Not everyone agrees with it. That's changing, obviously. But I think in order for me to create what I have created, I had to shut out all that noise and just stand true to myself, which it was kind of tough, because people love you. They mean well when they say things like family, your church, your school, professors. But for me, I had to get rid of all of that and honor myself, my own story, why I'm here.
I love that. And people are always going to talk shit.
Oh my gosh.
And especially, and this is one thing I've told you so many times, but especially going into the film industry, people love to talk. And if you're an oracle in that industry, oh, they're going to love to talk even more.
Yeah.
So that's something that, I totally agree with that, and just sort of, removing that. And honestly, who cares what people think? Because the ones that are going to stick around, they're not going to care.
Right.
They'll be there. And the others can fly away. I'm not going to swear on camera, but they can fly away.
Yeah. And I think I learned that too. Someone can say, oh, she's a B word or she's crazy. And I'm like, oh yeah, well, let me get to know her. This sounds interesting.
We literally were just having this conversation the other day because there's a few people that have been ultra weird in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes down to, I think, jealousy. But you were saying, before you get jealous of somebody, actually know who that person is or learn that person.
Yeah.
Because what do you got to be jealous of if you don't even know the person? Right. Okay, yeah, you might be jealous of what's on the outside, the flashy shoes, the car, whatever it is. But it's most people don't know people's stories and what they took to get to that point. So it's there's nothing to really be jealous of anybody, because even these giant celebrities that have, got to where they are now, it's been a lot of stuff that they've gone through and all of these things. So it's everybody's the same.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting concept. How has your faith and your spiritual path changed your life? And I know you obviously answered this last time, but what's your take on it now, a year and a half later?
Oh boy. It changed it greatly. I laugh sometimes because I don't think people realize I was so quiet. I was so sheltered. For me to talk about the things I'm talking about now, even my family is like, Tiara? It changed it a lot, because it turned the cameras, it turned the microphones and the mirrors onto me. And it was just okay, who am I? Why am I here? What's my inner world like? And then I found out cool things about myself. Oh, I actually sing pretty well, or I can dance, or I'm a great writer. Or I can act a little bit, I can actually have that gift. So I feel because it caused me to reflect on myself, I was able to bring so much more of my talents and my gifts and my natural abilities out. And because I can see myself, I can see other people. So all the time I'm like, oh my God, you should write, or you should do stand up, or you should whoa, you're awesome. So that's how it helped. Yeah.
I feel like you say those comments all the time.
All the time.
You literally said it yesterday.
I did. I did. And I mean, it's 100% sincere. I can see that. I could zero in on somebody and be like, wow, you're good at this. Let's do this. Yeah.
I like that. That's a cool flex.
Cool flex.
Yeah, it is. Your favorite place to go to where you feel the most grounded?
Oh, the beach. I'm missing the beach right now.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of beaches popping around here.
We don't. And, I'm definitely able to value the nature that is here, going on the walks and seeing the trees and sitting on the grass. But the beach is a different vibe, that ocean. And then I'm so grateful for the ocean. I actually treat it like a real person.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for helping me heal. Or I was stuck in my mind about this thing for weeks, and then now I'm able to, put it down here. So thank you for that. We might have to plan a trip to the ocean soon.
Well, I think we have a few trips. We have my birthday trip. And then for those of you who don't know, we also have a retreat business and a retreat company. And we are going to be hosting a retreat in Hawaii this summer. The dates and all of the information can be found on creativesoulsretreats.com.
Yes.
And obviously we'll put everything in the show notes. But did you want to tell everybody a little bit about what we're going to be doing out there?
Yes. So Creative Souls Retreats is definitely a project that Paris introduced me to, and it resonated so much. I come from the retreat space in Costa Rica and also here in the States. And in Hawaii, we're just going to be talking about the creative soul and what that means to the individual person. So we're going to have people from film, from health and wellness, all walks of life, kind of sharing their wisdom. And I am going to be sharing my oracle abilities. So it's going to get mystical, magical. Y'all should come out. It's always a vibe when we link up and do our thing.
Gonna be a vibe, and there's not many spaces. So if y'all are interested, I would recommend heading over there sooner rather than later. So the next question is your favorite place to travel to?
Costa Rica. I'm sure everyone is tired of me talking about this place, but I literally had someone message me about it like a week ago. It's just my place. I was really unhealthy, and I'm back on my health and wellness journey, but I was really unhealthy. My mom just passed away. I didn't know what I was doing with my life. I just felt this pull towards something more. And I literally had like $2,000 in my bank account. So I was like a broke person. And I caught a one-way flight to Costa Rica and literally transformed my life. And again, you know, I laid it all down on the beach and I was like, what am I doing? And things just started happening for me there. So I will forever and always love Costa Rica. It is my second home. I still have family and friends there. So Costa Rica is going to see me soon. We might have to plan a trip this year for sure. We got to fit it in somehow.
We'll fit it in somewhere.
Yeah.
We're also going to go back to Australia as well at some point, because I have not been home in what feels like a century for me, but it's been 3 years now.
Wow.
Which is 3 years too long.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited to see Australia too.
You're going to love it. It's just the most magical, prettiest place on the planet. Aside from Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico's awesome too. Yeah.
Cool. So, and again, I know you have like a lot of answers to this, but what is your favorite quote, or your current favorite quote, shall I say? Better way to phrase the question, right?
Excuse me. I'm laughing because I've been saying this for the past 2 years. Both at this point. Because my favorite quote comes from the great philosopher Lil Wayne.
Perfect. That works.
And it's real G's move in silence like lasagna. And I think it's so hilarious. When I heard it, I'm like, what? But the G is silent in lasagna. But he's basically saying, if you're working on something, you're working on this masterpiece, in this instance, lasagna. It has all these ingredients and you got to bake it for a long time to get it just right. Just stay quiet about it. Like, you don't have to shout it from the rooftops. No one has to know that you're creating this masterpiece. Just show up with this delicious lasagna and present it to the world. So I thought about that. And so with everything I do, barely no one knows that I'm creating it. And then when it comes out, they're like, whoa, you created this. And I'm like, real G's move in silence like lasagna. Like, it's great.
That's perfect. Thanks, Lil Wayne, for the inspiration in today's quotes.
Yeah.
That is great. I've never ever heard you say that before, which is hilarious.
I forget what song it is, but yeah, it's there. We're going to have to look it up later.
We'll look it up. We'll look it up. What is your favorite song at the moment?
My favorite song. Ooh.
What was the soundtrack to your summer?
Oh my gosh. It has to be the 5'9" by Tyler. She put me on to Jessie Decker, and I'm obsessed with that song. Oh my gosh. When she's talking to her love and she's like, I hope that you know, nobody cheated, nobody lied.
Oh, yeah.
That one.
I can't remember what it's called.
I can't remember either.
Called?
So sorry, Jessie.
We're going to have to, sorry, Jessie. We're going to have to,
we're
not going to play it, but we're just going to have to, you know, on camera things that need to be done.
Yeah. And I love it so much because she's talking about love, right? And she's talking about
Dance with Someone Else.
Yeah, Dance with Someone Else. It's such a good song, you guys. Check it out. But it just speaks of loving someone, and it's unconditional. And just because you parted ways doesn't mean the love has to stop, or doesn't mean that you have to wish death on them.
Right. Yeah.
If you do, I mean, okay, I get it. But you don't have to do that. And I think her song highlights that really well and makes me think of a couple exes. Like, we didn't do each other wrong. It's just we had to walk our individual paths, and that's okay.
Sometimes and sometimes it's really interesting because we were just having this conversation the other day, because one of my exes and I all of a sudden decided to reconnect, and not in any romantic way at all, but just to, you know, have that friendship still there and that connection. And honestly, it was awesome. Like, it felt fantastic. And I think that some people, like, not everybody does you wrong, and not everybody, sometimes it's just wrong season, wrong time, or in my case, cross the world move. Right. But things happen, you know, and I think that it's great. And that song really does have that moment in it throughout the entire piece where you kind of go, okay, we're cool with this.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
It's great.
I love songs.
Songs
like, it just speaks to you, you know?
Yeah, they're so good. Yeah. Maybe you guys will hear one from her soon. We'll see.
Ooh. So about that.
Drop the mic.
She announced it. So I've been singing my whole life. I was so shy. Oh my gosh. I grew up singing in church and in the choir. Yeah. And my mom used to beg me to sing. She literally used to pay me. So that's interesting, because I wasn't singing anything unless you had the dollars out. So that's funny to me.
That's great. Yes, Mom.
Go mom. But I want to get back into songwriting and singing and performing, and I'm a lot less shy. So hopefully you all will see some music from me soon. Paris is going to drag me onto the stage if I don't. So
I may drag her onto the stage. That might be a thing. Maybe not down here on Broadway, but some kind of stage.
Not on Broadway.
Maybe Broadway. I don't know. We've had some fun times on Broadway.
We have.
Okay. How significant is it to build a business with heart? And kind of take us through that, or how you build a business with heart.
Ooh. Well, it's funny. I literally was having this conversation last night. I did not start my spiritual business with the idea of making money.
Yeah.
You know, and I talked to some business people and they're like, so why did you even do it?
To give my gift, goddammit.
Yeah, you know, like there was a need and people came up to me and I provided solutions. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I can help more people. So that's how it was birthed. You know, Embodying the Goddess was birthed that way. Tiara Sharde Consultations was birthed that way. So with that being said, I feel like it's just important for you to really love what you do. Love actually helping people or providing something to people, and then maybe get into the money. Like, they can go hand in hand. It's just mine started a little different. And then now in this season, I'm with people who are great in business, who make money in their business. And so now I have a mentor of sorts, mentors, and I'm able to, you know, think about the money now. Like, okay, well, I actually need this money to help more people. And it works for me now.
I'm always telling her to raise those prices, y'all.
She's
That's
like, double
a constant
triple
conversation. Trust us.
Yeah. And it's good for me. Like, I need that, because people will pay your price and it shows how much they honor you and what you're providing to them. And if you don't stand in that, you're just giving away your gift for free. And that's not what, you know, Mother, Father, God, Goddess, whoever you believe in, that's not what they intend for you. So.
No. And some people will be worried about it along the way. But most of the time people are pretty good with it.
Can we talk about the weirdo?
We totally can.
Let's talk about the weirdo.
Let's talk about the weirdo.
So
maybe we might want to call them something else other than a weirdo.
Okay.
Let's talk about the person that said incorrect information.
Okay.
There you go.
That's very
polite.
I'm on
air,
words
so
for
I'm
them,
trying to be as polite as possible.
Yes. Okay. Shout out to that. No, they basically emailed me to get a service from me. And I didn't get a payment confirmation. So I was like, oh, well, I didn't get the payment confirmation. Maybe it's, you know, my website, something's not linking properly. And basically they had every intention of getting a free service. And then when I sent the links to her, she said, oh my God, it's too expensive. I'm a businesswoman. You should think about lowering your prices. So I immediately thought, ooh, I should double my prices since she said that. But yeah, I just kind of had to brush it off. I did get a little upset. I didn't get upset with her. Like, I didn't message her back. Yeah. But I did think about that value and honoring. Like, I only want to work with people who honor me and value me. If you don't, then I may not be the person for you, and that's okay. Yeah. But please don't send me an email telling me I need to lower my price or I need to adjust this or that.
Or more like, please don't find a link deep in my website that is to schedule a call that's not for a reading.
I still have no idea where she found that link to my Calendly to book me.
But now she made a conversation out of it. So now whoever you are, wherever you are, you're on air in my podcast conversation.
Welcome to the Paris Henriksen Show.
Welcome to the Paris Henriksen Show, yo.
That's great.
That was wonderful. Okay, so moral to the story, don't tell people to lower their prices. Because people will charge their worth, and so they should.
Yeah.
I sure do.
And it inspired me to raise the price. So, I mean...
There you go.
Well, there you go, right?
That's perfect. That's perfect. So. Do you have any tips for new entrepreneurs or those that may be looking to start out, or maybe even those that were in a similar situation like you were before you hopped on that one-way plane to Costa Rica?
Such a good question. Oh my goodness. Don't let anyone stop you from hopping on that one-way plane. That's what I'll say. Don't have anyone, because you all... Should I bring? Yeah, I'm going to say it. I'm just going to say it. So I had this really cute guy I was dating in Long Island. We're just
the
going
juice
there.
is coming out on this episode, y'all.
Listen. And he was super cute. And he's like, wait, no. Literally called me as I'm boarding the plane. So it cannot get more Lifetime movie than that. And I'm
sure
like,
it's not Hallmark?
It might be Hallmark. It might be Hallmark. Maybe I should write it for Hallmark.
You should.
And I'm like, yeah, I told you I was getting on a plane and I'm going to Costa Rica. He's like, yeah, but today? And I'm like, now, like literally now. And I was crying. I was super sad about it because I'm like, oh, I didn't want to break up with him. Insert Jessie Decker song, like nobody cheated, nobody lied. I didn't want to break up with him, but I knew that I had a bigger calling and I just needed to get my mind right and be alone for a minute and heal.
Yeah.
And so I got on the plane, and like 4.5 years later, I'm here and I'm doing all this cool stuff. So I'll say that to the new entrepreneur. Don't let anyone stop you from boarding that plane, from catching that flight, or, you know, stepping on the level, whatever metaphor we can insert here.
Getting the visa, moving across the world.
Right. See, you know something about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't let anyone stop you, and just go ahead and do it. And if they're meant to be in your life, they're going to stick around. And if they fall away, that's all right too. But definitely move forward no matter what.
I like that. I like that. I think a lot of people, you know, it's also that fact of getting uncomfortable. Because a lot of people are not cool with getting uncomfortable. And people are like, okay, we have our happy life, wherever it may be. In a city, in the country, whatever, but people don't like to break away from that. So, but it's like that thing of like, and I always say, like, if you don't do it, you're going to get to the end of the life and you're going to regret it.
Oh my goodness.
Because you're going to be like, I never chased my dream, or I never did this thing, I never did that. And I know for me, if I didn't get on that plane and move to Los Angeles, I would be happy. I would have an incredible life in Sydney with amazing people, but I wouldn't be as fulfilled as I have been over the past many, many years now since I got on that plane. So I think that it's something to think about that. It's not to say that you're not going to have a great life where you're at, but it's like, is it going to be the fullest life possible for yourself? And are you going to reach those dreams and goals by being in that place? Yeah. Because I definitely sort of could have still done all the same stuff that I'm doing now in Sydney. But I wouldn't have been as fulfilled.
Yeah.
So
you may not have met me.
And I wouldn't know you. So there you go.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be sitting here today.
Right. I'm so happy we decided to board that plane.
Yeah. 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 So yeah, entrepreneurs, board that plane or whatever it is along those lines. Or start that business, file that LLC.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you want to do, just go after it. And try and have a plan B, but also make sure the plan B is not overrunning plan A and the dream.
That's great. Yes.
I like that. Do you believe in the term leaving a legacy?
Ooh, yeah. Actually, what you just said about you coming to the States reminded me of that, because you have a legacy in Australia, of course, but you have one here too. Yeah. And that's really awesome. I do believe in that. I've been thinking about it quite a bit. I don't have children as of yet. So right now, my legacy lives on in my mentees, my students, my business partners, the things that I have been creating, the things that have been memorialized in a way, like the book, you know, as the author, that to me is legacy as well. So it doesn't always have to be money. I mean, money is great, don't get me wrong. But it's also spiritual legacy, it's intellectual legacy. It's the legacy that lives on through the love you have for your friends and your family. I greatly believe in that. Yeah. And now in this season, I feel like I'm expanding into more legacy building. Like, what else can I do? Let's stretch myself. So now it's film. It's more books. More books are coming. And music, what I just said. Yeah. That'd be really cool.
I like that. I like what a few of the things you said as well, in terms of like, you know, it's not always about money. And people always think of a legacy of like, how many millions of dollars can we leave? And sure, it's nice to leave stuff to your family. But I used to say this to my grandma all the time. It's like, I swear she wanted to be the richest one in the cemetery. And I'm like, Grandma, it doesn't matter. Like, because once you're gone, and you're in the next life. And you don't have, like, you can't take it with you. You can't take your Ferraris and your Porsches and all that with you. So it's like, as nice as those things are, it's not always about that. And I think that, you know, a lot of people need to realize that a little bit more.
I agree. Even those people who, let's say, for example, parents who want to work, because like you said, they want to leave behind the money, but leaving behind the love too is important. Like, that's major. And, you know, I come from a mom who worked. She worked so long, so hard, 32 years, and also had a successful business. And I barely saw her. And as a kid, I used to resent that. But as a grown woman, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I saw solid work ethic. I saw her self-worth. That's probably the word that wanted to come out. She wouldn't settle for less at all. And now I get to embody those traits and know she was doing it because she loved me. And I understand that I can have it all. Like, I can have the quality time, I could have the love, and I could have the money, I could have the successful business. So I'm so grateful for her and what she taught me, for sure.
I love that. But what is it that you remember most? I'm sure it's not the designer bags. I'm sure it's the experiences and the love, right?
Yeah. I remember that the most. And she always used to push me to sing, to write, to design. She always used to love my fashion designs and all that stuff. So she was very empowering for me. Yeah, she empowered me quite a bit.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Shout out to the moms out there.
Shout outs to mommy.
Now, I think I probably already know the answer to this, but what would you do for the rest of your life if money was no object?
I would travel. Like, I literally would lay on a beach and have some hottie rub me down with oil and feed me fruit all day and mimosas. And that's what I would do. That's the number one thing.
That sounds delightful.
It's great, right? That's the first thing I would do. The second thing I would do is see where I can give my money. Like, I'm concerned a lot about nature. I love children. I just want them to be happy and safe. I would definitely give to organizations and schools and conservatories and all sorts of things. Provide ways for people to have, you know, self-sustainability. And I come from a city where it's basically a food desert. So there's not quality, healthy, organic produce. You have to drive so far. So I would just set up a bunch of farms.
That'd be cool.
And do that. So the first one is definitely full of self-love and indulgence because I deserve that. And the second one is definitely, giving back. Yeah, for sure.
I like that. And how, like, you kind of segued right into it, but how important is giving back?
It's really important. I think about it, even with me, like, I'm here because people actually cared and they didn't their giving wasn't transactional. It was just like, hey, you need some help? Let me help you.
Yep.
And I feel like if a lot of us, if we think about it, would we be where we are if somebody didn't give something? Giving is really important. And I feel like it's one of those spiritual virtues in a way. Like, just give. You don't really understand how much you have until you give something. And then, to see the other person like, it can change people's life, really. So it reminds me of Costa Rica. And I think I shared this before. It goes back to Costa Rica. Everything does.
Everything.
And I was just in my little cabana, minding my business. And I hear a knock on the door, and I open the door, and my landlord and his family lived literally right next door. And it was his family down to the grandma, and they had just handfuls of fruit from their farm. I literally cried. I'm about to cry right now.
That's the sweetest thing ever.
Yeah. And here I was away from my family. I just launched my business. I was doing services. Just the fact that they showed up with all of that abundant fruit that they literally picked that day and, giving it to me, I literally cried. And they hugged me and they were like, "What's wrong?" They were like, "Lo siento, Tiara, I'm so sorry." And I'm like, no, it's good. I want it. I'm just so touched by it. So
that's sweet.
Something like that. And to them, they had, so many fruit trees. They didn't think of it that way. But for me to receive it, it touched me so much. So giving is really important, you all.
I love that. And I think there's something special about those countries. And Indonesia as well is very much like that. Yeah. I remember several instances where we'd get on the back of they call it a tuk-tuk or a Gojek, which is like a Uber car for those who don't know. And they're just the sweetest, most kind humans. You go down and get a piece of fruit or whatever it is, and they'll be like, no, it's fine. Just don't worry. And I'm like, okay. Like, I remember, and my friend has a beautiful, beautiful little cafe in Canggu. And I'm going to put the name in the description. Y'all need to go and check it out if you're in Canggu, because Wawi and his family are just absolutely incredible. And they, every time you go into their restaurant, they're just so kind. Obviously we always buy food, we always buy lunch and pay for everything. But there's been so many times where they're like, just bring over smoothies, or they'll bring whatever it is. And one thing I actually love about Wawi and what he's doing is he actually, all the girls that work in that restaurant, he helps support them through college.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And it's just, he is obviously more of a wealthy Balinese. And that is just something that he loves to do, and he loves to help. And I think that people in those cultures are very different. They're raised very differently, and they're a lot kinder because they don't have all of this outside noise. They don't have all of these things that are just there, right, and easily accessible. Yeah. Which is back to your point about, they didn't think that fruit was such a big deal, but you're like, no one else has ever done this for me before. Like, right. You got to go in the US, you got to go and buy this fruit yourself in the store that's sprayed with a whole bunch of pesticides. Right. Whereas here it's someone bringing you a gift. And I feel like all of those cultures are really like that, which I personally love. Yeah. And I think it's really, really sweet.
Yeah, I agree. And shout outs to him. That's amazing.
Thank you.
I agree. And they seem to put love and family and God and spirituality first. And it's never about money. It's never about things. It's always about feeling. Yeah. And sharing that. And I love that. I think I was born with that inside of me. But like you said, some environments here, it's not like that. It's very, what do you have? What are you wearing? What's the name of that?
Yeah.
And there it's not like that at all. It's like, are you a good person? Or you're another person, so let me just treat you with kindness. And I loved it so much. Yeah. Let's go back after this.
Reel and explain.
Right.
But yeah, and that restaurant is Kokomo, by the way. I had to take a second to think about that and be like, what's it called again? It's been quite a few years since I've been there because of all the stuff that's been going on in the world. But Kokomo Canggu on Batu Belong. So go check it out, y'all. It's super interesting. I feel like the environment thing is a big thing, and it's just, you know, and a lot of this, it's not anyone's fault. It's just the world is very chaotic, and people like to push their power. So that's why a lot of things are different in places like here. And Australia is the same. Everything's easily accessible. You can, you know, do this, do that. England, all the countries, it's not just a US thing. It's any, you know, non-third world country that is like that. That was not the correct grammar, but it's fine and it works.
Yep. It was great.
Thanks. Thanks for the support. But yeah, it's very interesting. Well, that's awesome. All of the stuff that you're doing with that. And I like that. I guess the last question before we probably dive into some other stuff is if you could sit down with anyone, passed on or alive, and gain insight and inspiration from them, who would it be and why?
Okay, so it's not Lil Wayne, but
thank God for that.
Thank goodness, okay? But my mom, honestly.
Mama?
Yeah. I think I was telling you, she was a really great businesswoman.
Yeah.
And she had me when she was 41. So my other siblings were already in their mid-20s. But she ran a successful business in an inner city that was, you know, oftentimes violent and chaotic.
Yeah.
But she never got robbed. She never got, you know, no one ever bothered her.
Because she knew how to handle her own.
She knew how to handle her own.
That's why.
And she liked heavy artillery a little bit.
That's
you know,
great.
She was very feminine, but she liked that life. She was about that life.
Okay, great.
So it might have something to do with it. I don't know. But yeah, she ran her business and she was really good. And she was the accountant and she was all the things. And I'm like, how did she do that? You know, and I was in school. My brother, who's 4 years older, was in school. And my elder siblings worked there. And I'm like, how are you a supervisor in social work for over 32 years, and then you get off and you run a successful business and you make all this money, and then you still have time for church and your children and your grandkids, as much time as you can? Like, how are you doing that? So I would love to like sit her down and be like, okay, so tell me all the things. Like, I'm old enough to understand. Tell me. And I actually wrote a little bit about that in the book. It's an anthology.
Yeah.
Ancient Future Unity. I mentioned that the last podcast.
It just came out the last podcast, right?
Yeah. Last September. Yeah. In September it came out.
September 21.
Yes. And so my chapter in that anthology is actually going to be its own book. But I wrote about her a lot, that she was doing all these things and she was really good at them. And so, yeah, I would like to sit her down and say, how did you run your business? And she was always called to ministry. But in that time in the Christian church, you weren't allowed to be a minister as a woman. It was really it was shunned.
Yeah.
And so now I am an ordained minister and I do have a temple. So I would love to know what she thinks about that and what her advice is. You know, I think she would know how to merge the two. You know, as this uberly successful minister in service to women and families like she was, how to navigate that life. I think she'd have a lot to share. You would love my mom.
I feel like that would be a great conversation. I would love your mom.
Yeah, she was hilarious. Aww. And she was about her money and about her business and her family. So yeah,
I love that. I love that. I wish I got the chance to meet her, but in the next life.
Yes.
So Go mom.
Yeah.
Shout out to mom. Is there any particular topics or anything else that you want to dive into for a second? We do have a little bit more time. I didn't ask you half the other questions because you've already answered them and the answers are not going to change.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything in particular? Any announcements? Anything to talk about with the program coming up on April 4th?
Yeah, thank you. So the program, right? Embodying the Goddess program, it has shifted.
Okay.
Because I was doing the Pussy Portal before.
Yes.
And it was a master class. It's also
So
the
for
title of
those
my
who
book.
didn't watch the last episode, what is the Pussy Portal, Tiara?
The Pussy Portal is the sacred cosmic space for women to tap into. You can be present with the Most High and the goddess, and you're the goddess. You are this badass, divine, feminine energy who's able to change the world in whatever way you're called to change the world. And yeah, with the Embodying Goddess Temple, that is new. It started out as a sacred sister circle, and the women were wanting more. And then I was seeing other things in women, because I'm not like, I don't view myself as like the leader of this. Like, there's so many women who are the leader. Follow me. Like,
blooper reel.
Yeah, like I don't view it like that. Like, I meet so many powerful women, and I'm like, yo, like, run your empire. Don't bow to me. Like, please don't. That's super weird. Like, let's just honor each other. And how can I support you? And I was encountering a lot of women who are business owners and have been, but also women who are called to spiritual leadership. And so I was like, oh, it's okay. So let's create a sacred space officially, right? Like, merge my calling with the need and create the temple. And yeah, so the Embodying Goddess Temple was born in that way. And we're pumping out powerful women who are bosses, who are spiritual leaders, who are leaders of their family. Yeah. And that's what it is. So that's what changed drastically. And the temple is open for membership now. It's different. It's ran different than a regular church. It's not.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
Sorry. Not
Everybody
to offend
says
anybody,
that though.
But,
they're like, oh, this is so refreshing. But it's also
not a church girl, if you can't tell.
Yeah. Which is great.
Sorry,
which is why, a lot of your advice and feedback is, great. Yeah. Because you don't have that kind of filter.
And don't get me wrong, I was raised in the Christian church, so.
Yeah. And it's just great. It's like I said, it's not your regular church. It's membership based. It's it's sacred. Not everyone can just run up and through our church. It's like, wait,
please no.
You can't do that. You kind of, you have to understand certain things. And yeah, so it's membership based.
I love that.
Monthly. Yeah. And hopefully, like I said, we'll be pumping out other powerful spiritual leaders who can have their own temples or organizations or stores or companies or whatever it is. Yeah. Families,
But everyone comes together for the main purpose of embodying the goddess. I like that.
She gets it, people. She gets it.
I do. I definitely do. Yes. Been around it a lot, and I've had my fair share, swing or two at being a women's coach. So I got it.
Trying to get her to get back out there.
She's trying to get me to do a program, y'all. This is what she's been trying to get me at least to do for the last couple of months. I think I hear about it at least once a week. She hasn't said it this week yet, but we're only on Monday. Right. So let's see.
Yeah. This might be it. This is the time.
This is the time where she's telling me.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll see what happens. I did have a couple of programs in 2021, and then I took them away for last year because I was just super busy with film and focused on a lot of reality projects that we were doing and pitching and all of the things. But we'll see. We'll see if the market's still there for it. She seems to think it still is. So we'll see.
Yeah. If you're like, if you're a coach, if you're a mentor, or you've accomplished anything in life, if you rolled out of bed today, you can mentor someone, literally.
Yeah.
And, we're post panorama, and
thank goodness.
Thank goodness. And everyone's, just still trying to find their footing and where they belong. I think that a lot of us have so much to share. So get some mentees, get some people, like, start that circle, start that brotherhood group, like whatever your thing is. People really need you.
People need it. Yeah. And especially like there's a lot of cities and a lot of areas that don't have access to things like that.
Right.
I think, and obviously, splitting my time with Los Angeles. There you go. That's how connected we are, apparently. But splitting my time there and here in Nashville, it's interesting to see the difference. There's a lot of that in LA. There's a lot of that, like, health, wellness kind of lifestyle with everyone's a mentor, everyone's a coach, everyone's a this, everyone's a that. And then the other side, everyone's a producer and an actor. So it's kind of like, there's nothing really else. Like, I don't know if you're in LA, if you have another type of job. I'm sure you do, but that's pretty much all I see, especially on the West Side in Venice. But, you know, or you might be a psychic or something like that. Yeah. But everything's pretty much in that space. But I've noticed here that there's a lot less. There is definitely circles. There is definitely things. There's definitely mentors. Don't get me wrong. But there's not as many as places like that. So I think it is really good when there is online programs and online sources that people in those less connected areas, and not even spiritually connected, just like physically, you know, I think it's great to have those kinds of options. So yeah. Yeah,
definitely. I remember a woman, she was in India and she found me. And I was like, what? She was like, oh my goodness, I'm so happy to have found you.
Oh, cool.
I was like, oh, so there's a market in India.
I mean, it happens, yo. It happens.
Great. Love it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it happens. And most of my clients used to be from Indonesia.
Yeah.
Which was interesting.
Right.
A lot of them were like expats that were living in Indo, but majority of them were local.
Yeah. And I think that that's just proves the point. And kind of circling back to what we said earlier, just get out there.
Yeah.
Just do something and you'll realize just how much who you are is needed. You know,
I love that.
Who you are, what you have to offer. You'll be able to see that. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Okay. Well, we've talked a lot.
Yes.
Is there anything else that, like, where can people find your stuff? Where can people go to get access to the membership for the temple?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Definitely tiarasharde.com. And we also have embodyingthegoddess.com that's for the temple. That's for our merch. I literally just launched new merch today.
A
few hours ago. So working woman, right? So please check that out. It's super dope. And also, if you want to partner with me on my next book, it's actually titled Crowned. And it's called Crowned, Rebirthing the Cosmic Womb. And what that means is basically, you know how our grandmas and our mothers have their lens and their story and perspective, and we greatly appreciate that. And now we're the upgraded version of everything they taught us and showed us.
Yeah.
Now it's our turn to write that book. And in what way have you been crowned? You know, in what way are you showing up? What do you have to give back? So that's the next book. Literally, you can join us right now. And that should be coming out at least by the end of the year. Okay. I have to solidify the date because I've been doing other projects that I'll probably disclose on the next episode, not right now. But that can be found on tiarasharde.com. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. And yeah, next episode there's a few things we'll talk about. We might blow the roof off some things.
Yeah. They don't need a roof. Let's just blow it off. It's fine.
We'll just blow up Hollywood. So,
yeah.
Not physically. Please don't think. Not physically. Right. But we're going to blow the roof off some things and get a little deep on that world. And now that you're entrenched in it and now that you get to experience it. So we're going to talk to you all about that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah. This is great.
Awesome. Well, stay tuned, y'all, for the next episode. And yeah, we'll have Tiara back very soon.
Yay.